Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Board of County Commissioners meeting November 27th, 2023, 7 p.m. I will first read the public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should a quorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. At this time, if we could stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Carter, would you mind leading us in that? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Are there any agenda adjustments, commissioners? Hearing none, did you have? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to our announcements by a clerk.
Good evening, everyone. I will read the announcements published in tonight's agenda. Cheers on hometown band, drill teams, schools, and community groups as they make their way down Main Street in Durham at the Durham Holiday Parade at 10 a.m. on Saturday, December 9th, presented by the City of Durham's Park and Recreation Department. The procession will be concluded with a guest appearance from Santa. This event is free and will be held rain or shine. Seating is not provided. Spectators are encouraged to bring their own chairs and blankets. And for additional information, you can visit the dprplaymore.org website. The Welcome Baby annual coat drive has begun. They are accepting new and gently worn winter coats, hats, and gloves for children, sizes newborn to 8. Drop off your donation at 721 Foster Street, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The drive runs through January 5th. You can contact Cindy Riley. There's an email and a contact number is 919-560-7319 if you would like to host a drive. Additional drop-off locations in Durham will also be posted on the welcomebaby.org website. Help spread the word. The Durham County Department of Social Services has a new dedicated centralized intake line for its Aging and Adult Services Division. The new number is 919-560-8588. Residents can call to get assistance with information and referrals for aging and adult services, adult protective services, guardianship referrals, Meals on Wheels, in-home aid referrals, adult home care complaints, adult placement services, community resources, and to get answers to other questions. There is a link to the website. The Durham County Main Library will host the second annual Navigating Grief during the holidays community event from 3 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, December 2nd. This event is free. It features a remarkable lineup of speakers, each offering a wealth of knowledge, compassion, and resources for the bereaved, guiding them through the holiday season. You can register, and there is a link as well. The latest edition of the Durham County Sheriff's Office podcast, Star Talk, is out. This time, Sheriff Clarence Burkhead and Captain Kimberly Lane have a discussion surrounding the recruitment and training division. You can get additional information and view the podcast episodes at the dcsostartalk.podbean.com site. Those interested in development data and trends Durham County has a new online resource at their fingertips with the Durham City County Planning Department's new Durham Planning Dashboard. Data will be updated quarterly on this interactive website designed to let users easily explore trend data, population, and demographic information, and an interactive map that provides tools to check the status of development cases, review past approvals, and review data and other information about parcels of land. You can access the dashboard via the link as well. Join the Durham County Department of Public Health for a free webinar, Healthy Eating During the Holidays, on Tuesday, December 5th from 6 till 7 p.m. This is a virtual session, and it will inform participants about tips that you can do this holiday season to stay healthy with so many food options at work, home, and everywhere in between. There will be a guest speaker, Chelsea Hawkins, and you can register via the link on the website. That concludes the announcements in tonight's agenda.
Okay, I forget to turn this on sometimes. We have a lot going on in this community. So govern yourselves accordingly, and as Ms. Wallace mentioned, all of these items will be on the website as well for you to go back and get the dates correct on your calendars. Okay, Commissioner Burns?
Yeah, one more announcement.
Sure.
Thank you so much. We probably won't get to see some of you wonderful, beautiful people before Friday. It was in our newsletter, but I did want to share for anybody who's interested, and I'm going to read it so we can move along expeditiously. This Friday, December 1st, 2023, is Booker Spicely's birthday. Along with that birthday celebration, the Spicer family, the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, and members of the North Carolina School of Math and Science will be unveiling a new state highway historical marker and a host of program speakers and musical performances to honor PFC Spicely. For those of you all who are unfamiliar, in 1944, PFC Booker T. Spicely, an African-American soldier stationed at Camp Button, boarded a Durham City bus owned and operated by Duke Power. After PFC Spicely objected to segregated seating, he disembarked at West Club Boulevard, what is now Berkeley Street. The white driver, Herman Lee Council, followed Spicely, who was unarmed, off the bus, shot him twice at close range. Where he's set 2 blocks away from Watts Hospital, which in 1980 would become, of course, School of Math and Science. The Watts Hospital Emergency Department, Spicely was refused care due to the fact that he was African American, and he later died and succumbed to his wounds. So we will be putting up a marker again this Friday, December 1st. The program starts at 3 p.m. and will go to 6 p.m., honoring the life and legacy of PFC Booker T. Spicely. Again, that one is actually on our website and it's on our Facebook, but we do look forward to seeing some of y'all there. That was my one announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns, for raising that. And I know that Eddie Davis is very happy about that, our resident historian. I just wanted to also note that on December 1st is the first official rollout of Medicaid expansion. And so it's really important that we spread the word to people about applying for Medicaid. People can apply online with the e-pass system by phone or in person. There is more information on our website, also the DSS website, and also for people to know that many immigrants and refugees are also eligible, could be eligible for Medicaid expansion. So we really encourage people to find out if they are eligible, and we are really excited that this is finally happening in our community and also the entire state of North Carolina. Thank you.
Anything for you, Commissioner Carter? No? Thank you. There is a lot going on, as I stated earlier. Commissioners, we have our minutes, 230881, regular minutes. Are there any edits or additions to those minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Madam Chair, so moved.
Second.
It's been motion by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner Jacobs. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved 4-0. And just for the audience, Commissioner Alam has an excused absence tonight. And I think I saw our Representative Maury in the room. I just wanted to acknowledge our elected official. Anyone else? I did see Mayor Schulz, past Mayor Schulz in the room. Anyone else? Just want to make sure that we acknowledge them. So we're going to move on to our ceremonial items. The first item is 230863. It's a resolution honoring the memory of Arnold Dennis. The board is requested to approve a resolution honoring the life and legacy of Mr. Arnold Dennis, who made his transition on November 1st, 2023. Arnold Dennis served as Durham County's Youth Home Director from September 1985 until his retirement in December 2005. He was highly regarded for his intellect and his passion for the community, especially for young justice-involved youth. He was a friend to many and always showed a unique measure of professionalism, warmth, and respect for everyone he met. On behalf of Durham County and its residents, we extend our sincere condolence to Miss Betty Dennis and the entire Dennis family. And I have the resolution here that I will read. Durham County Board of Commissioners Resolution, Arnold Dennis. Whereas Arnold Dennis was born in New York, where he received his secondary education before attending Wilberforce University and Howard University for his undergraduate studies. And whereas following graduation, he returned to Long Island, New York, to attend, they have to help me with that, university, I'll let you say it, where he received a master's degree in social work. And whereas thereafter, he worked in various departments of the U.S. social and justice systems, where he came to understand a need for more equity and fairness in the lives of Black children, Black families, and Black communities. And whereas his passion to help others led him to spend 2 years in Tanzania, where he taught young men in a secondary school, and whereas eventually his family found their way to Durham, North Carolina, where Arnold Dennis spent a lifetime helping to build better lives for young men who were justice involved, or to prevent them from becoming justice involved. And whereas he unselfishly shared his talents with others, leading as a visionary and mentor for many young men who joined his Rites of Passage program, known for its positive impact on impossible young Black males. And whereas after retiring from Durham County government, where he served as Youth Home Director from 1985 to 2005, he joined North Carolina Central University as a faculty member in the Criminal Justice Department, continuing to share his passion and intellect with the next generation of leaders. And whereas Arnold Dennis will long be remembered as a role model, mentor, and dynamic visionary to all whose lives he touched. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Durham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby resolve to honor the memory of Mr. Arnold Dennis. We urge all Durham County residents to remember this amazing life force and the unique contribution he made to the entire Durham community and beyond. This is the 27th day of November 2023, signed by all the commissioners. And I believe his wife is here and other members of his team. If you'd like to have comment, you want to go to one of the mics if you'd like to have something to say. That's all right. Take your time. Right.
First of all, I'd like to thank this group for recognizing Arnold and the work that he certainly was involved in for close to 40 years. We landed here in Durham not knowing very much about the city or about what was here for us. And I think that someone was looking out for us because we found quite a bit, and we were involved from beginning to end with this community, with the people in it, with the interactions, with the work for the young people in this community. And I think Arnold is a person that enjoyed every moment here. It is said, I think it's a Buddhist saying, that when you light a lamp for others, the light also sheds for you. And I believe that that was his life, that he lit a light for others, and also shared in that. And I'd like to have the individuals who represent Rites of Passage program as it continues to go forward, who represent other members of our family, who represent the Durham business and professional chain. Can we have them just stand and be recognized?
Please. Yes.
And you can see, with just the ones who are here tonight, his work will continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, anything? Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Dennis, for your words, and also for all of you being here tonight. And I share my sympathies, but also what an incredible legacy Arthur Dennis is leaving our community. I had the privilege of serving on the gang reduction task force with him for many years, and we were really blessed to have him on that task force and sharing his perspective and his wisdom with all of us on the task force. And I know Reverend Herndon, with Rites of Passage, all the work that you all have been doing in the community. So I just want to say I'm grateful that I got to at least work with him in that capacity, but also thank you to all of you for continuing on his work.
And I worked with Arnold, and I experienced his commitment to our youth. Just a real, genuine, committed person that wanted the best for our young people. And that's a huge loss for our community, and I just extend my condolences and just know that he touched a lot of us. Thank you. All right, and the resolution will, Monica, she'll get a copy of it. She's already gotten it. See, she takes care of it. Thank you. Thanks, Monica. All right, we'll move on to our next resolution, recognition, 230836. The recognition of OES Director Jim Groves for receiving the Colonial Phillips Nichols Water Award from the North Carolina Emergency Management Association. Durham County Office of Emergency Services Director Jim Groves was awarded the 2023 Colonial Philip Nichols Waters Award from the North Carolina Emergency Management Association during the organization's 2023 Fall Conference. This award is presented to the local emergency management leader who has demonstrated outstanding achievement in their emergency management program and has contributed to the overall good and advancement of emergency management in the state. Groves has served the residents of North Carolina for nearly 40 years. He is the inaugural OES director, starting his tenure on March 1, 2020. Previously, Groves served 10 years as the Durham County Safety Manager, Emergency Management Coordinator from 1993 to 2003, then as the Fire Marshal Emergency Management Director from 2015 to 2020. He began his public service career as a volunteer with Fire and Emergency Medical Services in 1984 at the Parkwood Volunteer Fire Department in Durham. During his time with Parkwood, Groves was certified as a North Carolina firefighter, emergency medical technician, and hazardous materials technician. Now, there's a whole lot more to read here. But what I'm going to do is allow Jim to tell you about a little bit about this himself. So, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dwayne Brinson, Assistant County Manager.
Okay.
Just want to add a quick remark before Mr. Groves comes up. A lot of people don't know that our work history involves more than just Durham County. We worked together in Orange County for a number of years. So I've had an opportunity to work with Mr. Groves for a while, and it's an honor for him to get this award. I'm very happy for him, very pleased for him, and it's very well deserved. So, Mr. Groves.
Mr. Brinson. Jim Groves, your Emergency Services Director. Thank you all so much for taking the time to recognize the Colonel Waters Award. You know, you're reading through some of that stuff, and you're making me feel as old as my bones feel right now.
That's a whole lot. I got 2 more pages that I could read.
You know, I've been doing this for a while. You know, we were not, I'm not born and bred in Durham. I was an Air Force child, and we settled here in Durham when I was in middle school, went to Githens and Jordan, but we settled here because of the VA's association with Duke University. My father was sick. And so it's kind of a neat thing for me to have completed middle school at Githens and high school at Jordan, get my first degree at Durham Tech, and be able to volunteer for the Parkwood community in Southern Durham for so many years. And then I have an opportunity to make a difference in the entire community as an emergency manager. And so it's been kind of a lifelong calling. It's an interesting, the new NACO leadership series is Leading on Purpose. And they talk about your job, and is it a job, is it a career, or is it a calling? And I truly believe with Durham County and this position that I've realized my calling. And so it's just been a pleasure and a joy. So thank you very much for the recognition. I really appreciate it.
Any comments from commissioners?
Mine is really, really quick. One, Director Groves, well, pause, and I know you can receive this. One, thank you to everyone who came to celebrate Mr. Arnold. Really appreciate you all. Yeah, this is a long, so thank you all so very much. I just want to say to you, Director Groves, I remember when I first started out as a county commissioner, and we were all on Zoom. And I get a note from somebody one day saying, Commissioner Burns, we know you short. If you need us to come to your house and take the battery out of your smoke detector, we will come up there and take that battery out your smoke. Now, let me clarify, they didn't do it, because that's the kind of stuff y'all would write in the newspaper that I was misusing the research. I got a ladder. I figured it out. I don't know why they put that thing in the top of my ceiling. I don't know why. But that's just the kind of person that Jim Groves is, right? Like, he is thinking about things. Y'all know I had to went nose blind to that thing. I ain't hear it. But he heard it on the Zoom. He said, Commissioner Burns, if you need us to come over there, we will change out that thing for you. And so that was, I throw that out there because he is like that with everything. So whenever he comes to us and he asks for money, it is for something that we really need. I know y'all don't get to come to our work sessions, but we have a mannequin that can deliver babies. Why? Because people in Durham can deliver babies. Why do we have it? Because Jim knew to go buy it. We have mannequins now that are getting upgrades for CPR. They scared the bejesus out of me because they can move, and I don't like stuff that can move, that can't talk, but they can move. And do you know why we have those upgrades? Because he asked us for the money right before he left. He asked for a bunch of stuff. He came in here the other day with his arm broke, which made me think this is like a senior in high school. He got a fight club going in the basement of this place. And I knew once he had a cast on and had awards, he must be leaving. So he's also retiring. So I am going to miss you, because when the batteries run out, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I wanted to also throw this out. When the whole world is sitting back trying to figure out how they're going to get ambulances, because there's like a 20-month backlog, this gentleman figured out a way to put a Ford a box from a Ford chassis to a Mercedes chassis, so we wouldn't have a break in any of our ambulances. This is the man who went to finance and budget and to our manager and said, I know the whole world has stopped, but can we buy our ambulances 3 years in advance so people in Durham don't have to worry about whether or not they get help? This is the man who went out and, as we were doing electrostatic cleaning, made sure he found something that was vegan friendly that we could clean our ambulances out with, so when people are in there struggling to breathe, they're not taking in harmful chemicals. I really could go on and on and on about some of the investments and advancements that he's made, the things that he's taught me that I'm cognizant of, especially when I think about training the next level of paramedics that we're going to need at Durham Tech. So you will be greatly missed. You are greatly appreciated, and I miss you. Good luck and Godspeed, and I know you are going to miss the best show on earth.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns.
Okay, Commissioner Carter.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And Jim, I also just want to say congratulations first on such a well-earned and deserved honor and award. Durham County has some incredible, amazing leaders of our department and people who are providing top-notch services to the community, Jim, but you're in the upper echelon tier of that group, and we will definitely miss you. I just love that you started at Parkwood as a volunteer firefighter there. And I love how you summed up your career as a calling, and good for you. Congratulations on that too. People spend a lifetime searching for their calling and for their purpose and meaningful work. And the fact that you consider it a calling, I'm sure, is partly attributable to the fact that you're so good at what you do. You've certainly made Durham County a safer, more prepared community, and thank you so much for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Jim, I also want to congratulate you. This is a well-deserved recognition for you from your peers, and you really have created an incredible legacy here in Durham County. And what amazes me is that your attitude is still 100% positive, and the fact that you clearly have energy for this work and enjoy it, it's visible to everybody. I don't think I've ever seen you visibly concerned or upset about anything, considering the kind of work that you do, which is all related to first response and emergency management and hazard mitigation and disasters and you name it. It really amazes me. And you have led a lot of really tough transitions in Durham. Changes within the volunteer fire departments that I remember were very difficult. The merger of the fire department, the Durham City and County Fire Department, which was very challenging. And then just getting through COVID and everything that was required for that by many, many people. And again, as Commissioner Burns noted, planning for a future with supply chains and just an ever-changing landscape. So really thank you so much for everything that you've done for our community, and congratulations.
And I, too, add my congratulations again. Jim was on the TV show with us this week, so I had an opportunity to hear him and give my accolades, and I'll do it again publicly. Just thank you for your service. Thank you for your heart, because the work that you do is about heart. So I wish you all the luck in the world. Thank you so much. Okay, anything else? All right, thank you. All right, we have one more recognition, and that is 230838, recognition of Goomer Gooden. I'll get it out in a minute. Gooden Farmer Gooden, for receiving the Order of the Longleaf Pine for her 25 years of outstanding service, dedication, and leadership as the director of Durham County's Clinical Justice Resource Center. And I will give the honors to Commissioner Jacobs to honor Gooden.
Thank you. Before I say anything, I'm actually going to turn it over to Roshana Parker, because I think she has she's got the important document in her hands. So I will hold off on my comments and turn it over to Roshana Parker, Director of our Justice Services Department and Justice Resource Center.
Thank you so much. Good evening. I'm definitely honored to be here this evening, to stand here as we bestow this prestigious award upon someone who is so deserving. Gudrun Palmer needs no introduction to this group or to the Durham community. When you say her name, people know her from her years of dedicated service. They know her as a hard worker and a go-getter. They know her as an innovator and a leader. I know her from having worked side by side with her for 10 years. I know the passion that she has for helping people and the commitment she made to work day in and day out until the day she retired. We miss her, but we want her to know that the commitment to this work continues, and we are building on the awesome foundation that she laid. With that, I will turn it over to a couple of supporters that came tonight to share in this honor. They shared in helping to prepare it, and so I wanted to give the time to them to say a few words before we actually give her the actual award. So with that, I'll turn it over to Representative Morey.
Good evening, Commissioners. Wonderful to see you, everyone. What a great celebration. We just heard about Arnold Dennis, who's a visionary. He taught me about kids, juvenile justice. And 18 years as a judge, and I came in when Gudrun came and started the Criminal Justice Resource Center because of the vision of this county, the county commissioners. Let's put some resources in to what was then was the most innovative program in the state. We're not helping incarcerated people, we're helping people. Durham was the first county in the entire state. Let's start a juvenile drug court. Let's start a family drug court. Let's start adult criminal drug court. We had 3 drug courts running. Those were not punitive, those were rehabilitation. We had first appearances in jail. We knew nothing as a judge about it. Let's do a cash bond. But Gudrun and her leadership and people under her gave us information about these people who came in jail every morning. This is their record. This is the mental health issues they have. This is the family support. So we were so much wiser in how we would address first offenders. And we would see laws that were unjust. And in Durham, we said, how do we make it better? And with Gudrun and with Kelly, we started the first state misdemeanor diversion program. Don't arrest these kids that are 16 and 17 for minor offenses. Give them to a program. Don't start a criminal record. I think when I left, there were about 800 we prevented from having a criminal record because of Gudrun's leadership. So it spanned everything and reentry. So Durham should be so proud. And it happened because of your commitment, and it happened because we picked the right person and the leadership of Gudrun Palmer, who so is deserving of the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Thank you very much.
We also have Rob Lang that will say a few words from the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Middle District.
Thank you, Rashana, Madam Chair, Commissioners. You all should be congratulated. We tried to build a model of what you build in the other 24 counties in our district. The only line item consistently funded reentry-based center in the state for many, many, many years. Greensboro's now, their county commissioners are funding a similar organization that Gudrun ran for years, and it started to catch on, but you were 20 years ahead of your time. And so thank you for your leadership and seeing that vision that Gudrun was able to act out. I bring greetings from my boss, United States Attorney Sandra Hairston, appointed by President Biden to be the Chief Federal Law Enforcement Officer of this district. And I wanted to just say to this group that when Gudrun retired, they had to change the Criminal Justice Resource Center into a department in the Judicial Services Department to replace all the work. But we congratulate her, and it has been a pleasure. I learned there's an old song, I was country when country wasn't cool. She was reentry. She and Nicole Sullivan were talking about reentry 25 years ago when nobody in this state even saw it. Reentry is the smartest business we do in the Criminal Justice Center. It's where a high percentage of our people that come back and cycle through, and what you have done down here under Gudrun's leadership, and I'm certain it will continue. We are just glad to partner with this fine county and with this great resource department. My last thing is, I was down in Lee County, and we were talking about reentry, and they're at the very bottom of this, and I said, you need to go up to Durham County and see what they're doing. They went down. Lee County is not as rich in resources as this community. They came up here and their county commissioners allocated $500,000 to begin this process, to fund the baseline to begin a program like that. Wow. So not only has this commission and Gudrun leadership changed Durham County, but you're changing other places and showing people how to do business better, to do business smarter, be more efficient, and to change lives, and to save lives and families. So thank you very much, Gudrun. It's an honor to work with you. I could rely on her anytime. She's always accountable. And it's just a pleasure, and congratulations.
Wow.
So not to take up much more time, I will go ahead and read the proclamation or the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Gudrun, can you come up? As she's coming, I will I will read what it says. State of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, Governor, excuse me, with special confidence in the integrity, learning, and zeal of Gudrun Palmer, I do confer the Order of the Longleaf Pine with the rank of Ambassador Extraordinaire, privileged to enjoy fully all rights granted to members of its exalted order, among which is the special privilege to purpose the following North Carolina toast in the select company anywhere in the free world. Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun doth shine, where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home, the old North State. Signed, Roy Cooper, October 9th, 2023. Wow.
Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Manager, Mr. Attorney, and everybody in the audience. So I did prepare just very brief comments because Roshana was trying to keep this semi-secret, but she forgot that I know how to find an agenda. So I looked up the agenda and I knew what this was about. So it's so good to be here. It's been almost 6 months since I retired. So first, thanks to Governor Cooper for the recognition, and a very special thank you to everyone who had a hand in making this happen. Kelly Andrews, and all of you who advocated on my behalf to the governor. It's indeed a great honor. Thank you, everyone, Representative Maury, Rob, Roshana, for the kind words, but none of this happened in a vacuum, right? The amazing progress that was made in Durham over the last 25 years in criminal justice was due to the efforts of many people, not just one. And yet, so much remains to be done. To the team at Justice Services, never stop challenging the status quo. Always look for even better ways to serve your clients and recognize that your biggest successes happen in partnership with other organizations and with community members. Continue to learn from others. Look for inspiration here in Durham, outside of the county, outside of the state, and sometimes outside of the country. Never lose your compassion and your willingness to go above and beyond for so many people, like you have done many, many times in the past, and I know you have. And to all of you, especially you commissioners, please continue to find ways and new ways to support individuals enthralled and entangled in the justice system, including the victims. Continue to support the women and the men who do this hard work, especially those who often don't get the recognition they deserve. And continue to ask hard questions and demand accountability from all the system partners and all the justice partners up and down the system. And I know you will, and I thank you and continue to do great work. Thank you. Thanks again, everybody.
Well, but Gudrun, before you step away, you know I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. First thing she said when she walked in, she said, first of all, this better be quick and you better not cry.
Y'all should have placed a wait.
So,
To strike out both.
hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to be successful on either one of these, but I also want to acknowledge all of the staff and all of the partners who are here tonight because of Gudrun. If you could please stand. And Gudrun's husband, Russell, especially you. We thank you for sharing Gudrun with us for 25 years. So thank you. And, you know, it really is incredible what, you know, I took great pleasure in writing a letter to Governor Cooper about Gudrun. It really was an honor and a privilege. And I won't reread the letter that I read at your retirement party, okay? But it is pretty incredible to think what we have after 25 years, thanks to Gudrun. We heard some lists of some of the programs, but the fact is we now have a department of more than 80 people who run a dizzying array of programs that serve people in our community, and with an incredible staff who, by the way, we had almost no vacancies in this department during the pandemic. What does that tell you about Gudrun's leadership and also all of the people who are part of the Justice Services Department? What an incredible team. So we heard some mention the misdemeanor and post-arrest diversion program, jail mental health. Jail mental health screened 1,942 detainees last year and referred 47% of these people for mental health services, which we provide 24 hours a day in our jail. Our mental health and drug treatment court that diverts residents from our jail in the first place and provides them the opportunity for treatment and recovery. Pretrial services, which allows 220 people last year to remain out of the detention center under supervision and connected to services while awaiting court disposition, and reduces last year 33,173 jail beds and a potential savings to Durham County of more than $6,600,000. Our jail-based STAR program, which is our second chance substance use and treatment use programs, our reentry council. Gudrun also helped to start and run our Criminal Justice Advisory Committee, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, Stepping Up Initiative, Gang Reduction Advisory Committee, and the Durham Joints Together to Save Lives, addressing substance and medication misuse, mental health and mental health and treatment subcommittee. And then as interim general manager for Durham County government, she led the process helping us determine how to use our opioid settlement funds. I could just go on. And I just want to say that for me personally,
She failed.
I told y'all.
I would not be doing the work that I'm doing today if it wasn't for Gudrun. When I was chair of the board, she said, hey, how about applying for this Peer Justice Learning Network grant with NACO? And you know, everyone knows with Gudrun, when she tells you to do something, you do it, right? So I applied and we got it. So next thing I know, I'm doing this Peer Justice Learning Network experience with 12 other elected officials nationally and their staff and with Gudrun. And of course, that was a life-changing experience for me. And next, she says, well, hey, there's a Familiar Faces Initiative opportunity. Why don't you apply for that? Sure. So next thing, I get into this National Leadership Network for Familiar Faces. And so thanks to Gudrun and her partnership and her leadership, not just of people in the community, but of elected officials. Mm-hmm. I am now leading the Durham Familiar Faces Initiative. We came back from Haven for Hope in San Antonio, and that led to the Carver Creek Campus for Permanent Supportive Housing in Durham, which is our first ever campus for permanent supportive housing that the city and the county have funded with Housing for New Hope. And none of that would have happened without you, Gudrun. So you have created a legacy in so many ways with so many people. I'm really grateful for you. And ready for you to get back on some of these committees. Thank you, and you're so deserving of this honor from Governor Cooper. Thank you.
Commissioner Burns.
I remember one day I was standing in the hallway. It was a big group of us, so this is public at this point. And Gudrun looked at me and she says, "Oh my gosh, I could never do that. I can't keep a secret at all." What do you mean you can't keep a secret? She said, "I can't keep a secret at all." People said, "Man, don't tell her nothing." I said, "No, I'm gonna ask her everything. Because if she can't keep a secret, I ain't worried about her lying to me." And that was all I needed. As soon as she said that, I knew I could trust this woman, and it has been a beautiful relationship ever since. I could be on a trip, and Gudrun would call me on the phone. "Commissioner Burns, let me tell you what just happened," and blah, 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 blah. And we would go through this whole thing. And it wasn't, she's not a tattletale. She just gives you good data so that we can make the best informed decisions for this community. I think Commissioner Jacobs did a great job of kind of sort of outlining some of the stuff. Y'all know it's campaign season. Folks gonna be taking credit for everything. I'm happy, I need y'all to understand, a lot of this stuff is so driven by staff. They are the subject matter experts. They bring it to us. And there's an interconnectivity to it. And I hate that we didn't get to do Mr. Dennis, because I thought I'd be able to wrap all of these in at one. But in this community, we have people that walk around at night, ride their bikes at night, ride their scooters at night, and they don't recognize that the reason why you can ride your bike, you can walk downtown, and you can take your scooter is because of the sacrifices and the conversations and negotiations that were made because of people like Director Parker, like the Director Palmer, and like the folks that are sitting over there in that section. Like, to clean up these streets, it takes hard work. It is. You're going to see a lot of people who say, "Oh, Durham is so clean." It didn't just get that way. Somebody had to say, "I want to make sure that this person is not a familiar face and doesn't have to do this again." So for me, I sit on the on the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, and one of the things that we were able to do this year as a board was give them additional funding. And some people are like, "Well, what? Oh, you gave them more money. What for?" There are nonprofits in Durham. I'll say this, I don't mind saying it publicly. They are a mile wide and 2 inches deep. They are not actually doing the work. And then you got some out there that are doing a whole bunch of work without the resources, and they can't go into the census tracts where it's really, really bad. So based on her counsel and about where we needed additional need, we were able to give them additional money and open the grant process up to folks who had never been able to apply before, and really work with them and say, "Okay, this is how you work with government. This is how you work with them." And today, I kid you not, Gudrun, I got three annual reports from folks that we gave grants to for the first time because you knew that they were worth it, and their kids. I know you're saving these kids' lives. So please know that even though you have left, your work lives on. I have done site visits with a lot of them, and I'm seeing the change because we can't do it by ourselves. So, and even in our priorities, the manager asked us, I asked for 3 more amounts of money for JCPC because you have always encouraged me to continue to get in good trouble. So I am thankful for everything that you've been able to do for us. I always say that criminal justice reform is like a stool. It got 4 legs. We doing our part. The judicial system's doing their part. The sheriff and them doing their part. I won't say who's not doing their part. We all know who that is. But we taking up that weight. And so I will stop here because I see people getting annoyed. But I do want you to know that when you left, there was like a collective sigh around the state, like, oh my gosh, like who is going to lead this charge? And the beautiful thing about being a great leader is that you invested in a wonderful person. So when it came time for us, I said, it's going to be Rashana Parker. Everybody breathed a collective sigh. So thank you. A leader is somebody who makes another leader who makes another leader. And I just want you to know you are a leader that I aspire to be like. And thank you for everything that you've done to save Black children and brown children in Durham.
Commissioner Carter.
Oh, just briefly, I too want to say congratulations to you, Gudrun, and to say thank you for working for Durham County in the ways that you did to develop the Criminal Justice Resource Center, now the Justice Services Department. Thank you for bringing your brilliance, your radical empathy, your vision, your intense commitment to this work. because it has attracted a lot of important partners. You know, I had nothing against Governor Cooper, but when I read the sheet tonight for the people who are going to be presenting this award to you, I thought this is the most exalted list of leaders for justice and fairness in our community I could imagine. And on that list, Leah Rubert, Marcia Morey, Marcia Owen, Rashana Parker, Wendy, you were on there. I see Kelly Andrews. I see somebody else whose name I just cannot remember because I'm old. Hello. A New Day, and all the work for young people and restorative justice.
Amy?
Amy, thank you. Anyway, so many people here, which it just speaks volumes about you, Gudrun. Thank you. We miss you. I hope you're having some good runs. Jogs.
So thank you, Gudrun. I served with you for, 10 years on your board. It was always an honor and a privilege to serve because I knew why I was there. I was there for our young people. And it was always a joy to be there. And I wish you the best as you go in a different direction. And we just so appreciate the work that you did and the legacy that you've left. So again, kudos, dittos to all my board members, what they have said already, and thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone. And Commissioner Burns, I left county government, but I didn't leave Durham County, and I'm still here. Thank you.
Okay, so Commissioners, now we're down to 230864, Durham County Commissioner, some highlights, and I want to acknowledge our mayor in waiting, Mayor Mayor-elect, is Mayor in waiting, and Mayor-elect Leo Williams, Leonardo Williams is here in the audience just to acknowledge him. So I will take a few minutes, commissioners and audience, to talk about accomplishments things that we've accomplished, just some highlights, some things that I felt that would be good to highlight. So I'm going to start here with, I want to take a few minutes and just reflect on the extraordinary work that has been done by this wonderful board of county commissioners and under my leadership as a chair of the board. And I have served as a chair of the commissioners for the last 3 years. When I was appointed, it was a very difficult time for this board. And what I knew then, and I know now, is when you focus on what matters, the rest falls into place. And what mattered was the people of Durham. So when you recall that when we were elected in 2020, we became the first all-female Board of County Commissioners in North Carolina. There were a few cities with that kind of dynamics, but not in Durham County. I was honored to be elected by this historic board as its chair. Please know that it has been my pleasure to work with such an outstanding board, an outstanding group of dedicated, hardworking commissioners on behalf of this entire community. And Durham County is in a good place. Let me say that again. Durham County is in a good place, not because of the commissioners, but because of the staff and the people that get this work done. we show up and they show up, they make us look good. And I am honored. We all bring different backgrounds and experiences to the table, and we work together as we examine issues, develop policies, and serve the great people of Durham County. A task force, a major task, and we have all kinds of task forces, but the major task of the county commissioners is to hire certain staff. For the first time since I've been on this board, we had the responsibility of hiring our top leaders that the commissioners are responsible for hiring. And I've been on this board for a number of years, and we've never had to hire that many top leaders at one time. But that was the board's responsibility. In 2022, our board selected our incredible manager, Dr. Kimberly Sorrell, as you see right here, as Durham County's first female manager. Now, she's the bomb.com. Her leadership continues to be outstanding. Our board also hired our new county attorney, Al Andrews, over here, and just a few weeks later. Then we had to name our new tax administrator. Mr. Dole, is he in the room? He's over there. Okay. Thank you for being here. These leaders will continue to move Durham forward. As our board began to operate, we were still addressing COVID, the pandemic. Over the months and years, our public health director, Rod Jenkins, I'm not sure he's here tonight, and his staff helped ensure that we received vaccines, even though we didn't want to, and that we use proper health standards to regain our lifestyles during the pandemic. You may remember that for a time we had the plexiglass shields between us in this room, and our meetings were completely virtual. Thankfully, we can now conduct our business in person with the addition of virtual technology. That means sometimes people want to be on Zoom, they can do that, or come to the meetings. A positive result is more participation by our residents. Earlier this year, I was a part of a delegation that traveled to Lake Placid. And I don't know if any of you have been to Lake Placid, but that's the coldest place I've ever been to. Ice and snow. For a final vote by the FIFA, it's FIFA, International University Sports Federation, to bring the World University Summer Games to this region in 2029. Durham, along with Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Greensboro, and Cary, will be the locations of these games. We were successful, and this will be one of our state's largest ever sports event. We expect these games to bring an economic impact of nearly $150 million to the state. That will be amazing. After 4 years of collaboration among community members, planning staff, and elected officials with a common goal of producing an equitable final product, the 2023 Comprehensive Plan was adopted by our Board of Commissioners and our Durham City Council. This is a major accomplishment for our community. I am so grateful that this plan will be used to guide important decisions around zoning and other planning issues for the next 15 to 20 years. In March of 2021, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act, giving $1.9 trillion to state and local governments to recover from COVID-19 pandemic. When Durham County received our $62 million of these funds, a Board of Commissioners proactively developed and adopted a comprehensive framework to guide the distribution of these proceeds. Now, the person that did that work, Claudia Hager and her team, and that was amazing work. I think each time she thought she had it all done, the feds would change the rules and to go back and do it again. So it's been major work. This framework allocates and funds projects that are now being used to transform our community's health, education, infrastructure, and the economy, all while aligning with county strategic goals. Additionally, the funds are helping our public health response to COVID-19 through expanded access to medical and behavioral health care, while also addressing health disparities. Funds are also combating negative economic impacts by assisting small businesses and expanding an infrastructure to create a pipeline for workforce development by building up local labor markets through the Bill's initiative. A portion of these funds will replace public sector revenue losses, enabling Durham County to continue providing essential government services such as free and reduced public health care, and funding food insecurity for those needing critical support. This food insecurity is major in this community. And not just this community, other communities as well. Transformative investments are being made to expand access to broadband in underserved communities. Further $10 million will support a new lift station needed for current and future waste management. Our board has worked with the City of Durham to leverage our American Rescue Fund dollars to optimize transformative infrastructure funds. In FY 22 to 23, we approved 2 interlocal cooperative agreements with the City of Durham on affordable housing initiatives related to projects previously bid by the City of Durham in 2021. This partnership totals $27 million in expanded resources for new affordable housing projects, including $13.5 million from each jurisdiction. And as I listened to the realtors today, one of the things that they said was, when we talk about affordable housing, do we talk about attainable housing? It can be affordable, but is it attainable? Also, Durham County and the City of Durham have partnered to support a project called Carver Creek, the one that Commissioner Jacobs just mentioned a minute ago. This project will provide affordable housing and expand it into a supportive housing campus for people transition out of homelessness. Services including substance abuse treatment, mental and physical health care will be provided on site. In the spring, our board came together with the community to celebrate the midpoint of our 300 East Main Street project. This includes affordable housing, parking, and daycare. Construction on the related 500 East Main Street project continues as well, and we were excited to see that happen to cut that ribbon. Economic development, job readiness, and training are important values for this board. I'm very proud of our focus on business development, especially small and minority business development. This Board of Commissioners exhibits a commitment to inclusion and the advancement of minority-owned small businesses and professionals in the county through the launch of a new initiative, the MWB Evolution in Durham, managed by Emprise. The program, which kicked off just a few weeks ago, is designed for minority women small business owners who want to take their businesses to the next level. Participants must attend 13 sessions to complete the program. In 2021, Made in Durham continued to build out the BOCC initiative with its partners through its efforts to create and align strategies in community engagement, education engagement, and corporate engagement. The 2023 scope of work continues and begins the scaling of the BOCC Biotech Academy. Our board has supported this effort in our annual budget. The goal is to prepare our young people for challenging careers in the growing life science industry by providing financial assistance, certifications, and postgraduate support. Our board continues to support our strong economic development efforts. Over the period, we are able to increase our staff of 1 and added 3 more employees. But the amazing result is that during the pandemic, Durham County continued to welcome new companies and experience significant expansion in others. Companies such as Chempower announced an investment of $41.2 million in 300 jobs. Eli Lilly announced an investment of $450 million in 100 positions. Catalent announced an investment of $39.4 million and 201 jobs. Jaguar Gen Therapeutic announced an investment of $125 million and 200 jobs. And Smartware announced an investment of $23.5 million and 250 jobs. Certainly, Durham County has continued its reputation for being the highly competitive and business-friendly. That is a lot during a pandemic. Then Commissioner Lum and I became the founding members of the Counties for Guaranteed Income program earlier this year, where along with 15 other counties from across the nation, we were in DC at the White House, and we presented to President Biden's staff regarding funding for the National Guaranteed Income Program and shared important points about how much families needed the assistance. And you know, this program is modeled after Mayors for Guaranteed Income, which initially started by Mayor Stockton of California, Michael Tubbs, and the city of Durham did their Guaranteed Income program last year as well. I'm so proud that this board has taken a critical step toward addressing economic disparities by implementing DCO Thrive, a guaranteed income pilot program that aims to help Durham families go from surviving to thriving. This program will provide no strings attached financial support to 125 low-income families and access the potential positive impacts on the community. We will provide $750 to families with children each month to help them with everyday living expenses. Last Monday, this past Monday, we launched the program to the community by showing the film Its Basics and discussed how life-changing these funds can be for families. And if you pay attention to the website, you can see the date that you can begin to file or register for the program. I was honored to have been appointed by the National Environmental Local Government Advisory Committee by EPA Secretary Michael Regan. Our work has been centered on issues affecting local governments, including PFAS, which is the forever chemical, and how they affect health and the environment, regulatory, innovation, and reform, environmental protection, pollution prevention, performance measures, and coordinated environmental management stewardship. And there was something on TV this evening about PFAS and the forever chemicals affecting North Carolina. I'm also excited to note that Durham County recently received a grant for $3.3 million from the federal bipartisan infrastructure law. The money will be used to renovate our Redwood Convenience Center in Northeast Durham and to improve our recycling process. Our 4th District Congresswoman, Valerie Fouché, along with other state and federal officials, joined us for the presentation a few weeks ago. Thanks to our General Services staff for participating in this grant. And I don't know if Mo is here or not. Mo and her staff did an extreme job with that. Durham County also received a $1.5 million grant for energy efficiency upgrades in low-income homes. The Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, competitive grant, is a funding opportunity from the Office of State and Community Energy Programs. Opportunity from the Office of State Emergency, Programs at the U.S. Department of Energy. Durham County was the only entity in North Carolina to be selected for the grant program. The purpose is to implement a program that will reduce energy burdens and promote energy efficiency in under-resourced neighborhoods. Last year, I served on the NACO Board of Trustees and was also the chair of the Healthy Counties Committee. And I thought that was ending, but I ended up being asked to serve again. I was also asked to chair the committee and I was happy to do it. So Aetna and BCA Global and our public health staff to bring us a community wellness event called Mindful Eating for the Beloved Community. If you didn't have an opportunity to be there and sample some of the foods, you really missed something. The food was awesome. Because the sole purpose of the event was to begin cultivating a healthy focus on food and working to reconnect food to family, community, culture, and faith. The event was held at our Senior Center for Life and was a day of screening, massages, food tasting, and fun. Education has always been a top priority for our Board of County Commissioners. And over the past 3 years, we continue to fully fund Durham Public School requests for operations and capital funding And that also included substantial increases for the classified employees. Pre-K expansion resulted in new slots for our pre-K programs to give our youngest residents a great start in their educational journey. We also increased our funding support for Durham Technical Community College in requested capital funding. I'm honored to serve on the Durham Tech Board of Trustees. This fall, Durham Technical College launched its President's Emerging Leaders Institute, which will identify and develop emerging leaders for growth and advancement within the college now and in the future. Durham Tech is doing some incredible work. Durham Tech and UNC Chapel Hill also announced an innovative partnership in late September to provide space for small business and corporate services along with academic programming. But one of the most significant actions taken by this board was the decision to conduct a 2022 general obligation bond referendum. We put a bond vote before our community for $550.2 million. This was Durham County's largest bond ever. $423 million of Durham Public Schools, $112 million for Durham Technical Community College, and $13 million for our Museum of Life and Science. All three questions were approved, and now we see new buildings, renovation, land acquisition, and future expansion underway. Over the period, the Board of Commissioners worked to provide support for our employees. In our budget approval, we worked to ensure that salaries and benefits were in line with and often better than our peer local governments. We supported a recent classification and compensation study. We approved a new county employee holiday, Juneteenth, that went into effect on 2021. And as a result of that, some of our communities had their own Juneteenth in their communities. Through the years, we supported the county manager's budget recommendations around bonuses for hard-to-fill positions, those employees who did not have the option to work remotely. We worked with a group, Moms Rising, to implement improved benefits to our employees, and we have representatives from Moms Rising here, and I'd like for you to come to the mic. And our employees have responded positive, having 5 dedicated wellness days, more time with adoption, and more options to care for themselves and their families. And these were items that Moms Rising brought to us and asked us to entertain. So I'd like for you to have a comment on this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chair Howerton, and all of the commissioners. We are so excited to talk about your championing paid leave policies for Durham County employees. We have this thank you card that we would like to leave with you all, and I will read it. So, dear Chair Howerton and Durham County Commissioners, on behalf of over 1 million members of Moms Rising across the country and 40,000 across North Carolina and many right here in Durham County, I want to thank you for championing policies that lift up working families, including the recently approved Family First Paid Leave Policy, expanding paid leave policies to meet the caregiving needs of Durham County employees. Being there for family is what matters most, and no one should have to choose between the family they love and the job that they need. Thank you for being champions for working families.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful. Wow, it's awesome. I said, somebody get a picture of it.
We will pause briefly for this photo.
All right. So we're almost through. Let's see. As I say, it takes a village. Community. Expectant mothers with pre-existing health conditions are being given blood pressure monitors. Continued steps are being made to ensure that Durham is a breastfeeding friendly environment for all families, such as encouraging employees to provide lactation spaces. Durham County Department of Public Health continues its collaboration with Born in Durham that is focused on maternal and infant health outcomes with a goal of eliminating prenatal inequities in Durham County. Durham County Department of Public Health has partnered with Guilford County Health Department, North Carolina, on health of human services and other key stakeholders to convene a regional Black maternal health and infant mortality conference in the spring. So last year it was held in Guilford County. We're looking to have it held in Durham County in the spring. We have hired our first food security coordinator, Mary Oxendine. She may be in the room. This position supports the community by developing a strong and equitable food system for residents to find affordable and healthy foods. This is one of the bipartisan identified during the COVID pandemic, and it was critical that we work to help our families find and receive healthy and nutritious foods. The work around Durham County's Master Aging Plan is positively moving forward. Much like communities everywhere, we are seeing a growing number of older adults, and those adults are living longer. Our board is committed to bringing resources to bear to ensure that our seniors are age with dignity and enjoy a comfortable lifestyle in their golden years. None of us can get out of it. There's only one way we can get out of aging. And we all know what that is, okay? The Master Aging Plan Steering Committee has convened working groups to address community support and health services, senior hunger and nutrition, housing. As committees are being formalized, action plans with strategies to address the key components will soon emerge. Transportation is a priority in any community. The board continued to work closely with our region on this issue. I was honored to have been chosen recently as the first Black female to chair the Go Triangle Board of Trustees. At some point in this, I hope in my lifetime, we can stop saying first, won't have to say the first Black, but we are still doing that. The first black female was appointed today to the Realtors Association. So we're still having to say that. Also, I want to share a few important transportation accomplishments as we interact during the past 3 years. You know, our planning department, we only have Ellen Beckman. I think we're hiring some other folks now. We've got a couple of other people. Who we have in the? We've got two more people in that department because Ellen Beckman's been doing the work for quite some time on her own, and that's a lot. Our board approved the Durham County Transit Plan, providing a vision for how to spend more than $1 billion of transit revenue to improve passenger rail, implement bus rapid transit or faster buses, improve bus stops and stations, and provide more bus service. We also approved a new Durham Transit Governance Agreement that enhances interagency partnerships and improves transparency and accountability for the county transit services. And Durham County was awarded a $1.2 million Federal Railroad Administration grant to conduct a planning study to improve safety at 3 railroad crossings in East Durham. This is a major win for our community. Our board supported the establishment of the Community Intervention and Support Service Department. This new department brings together 3 program areas that were previously operating separately. I don't think I've ever known the Durham County to create a department. That was major work for the staff that did that work. And we appreciate all the work that you do. That was the Bull City United, My Brother's Keeper, and Project Bill. The department's focus is to provide coordinated and programmatic support and systems level strategies in partnership with the community to promote resident and community safety and prosperity. Bull City United entered into a local agreement with the city of Durham to expand its work to reduce gun violence in census tracts that were experiencing higher firearm-related incidents. The staff was expanded from 7 to 25. It's a lot of people. Bull City United received a Brian Justice Assistance Grant from the Department of Justice in an amount of $250,000 to examine cross-systems approaches to address gun violence and offer recommendations for promising practices and sustainable solutions. So all of these things we are working on. It's not like they're finished. They're being worked on. My Brother's Keeper is now utilizing the national MBK model to continue to work to improve life and career outcomes for young boys and men of color. Project Bill received an additional $25,000 from Juvenile Crime Prevention Council reallocation funds to expand skill building opportunities for its participants. And there's so many programs that the city and county have teamed up to work together. The partnerships is vital. The Boys and Girls Club, the county joined with the Boys and Girls Club of Durham and Orange counties to expand tutoring service, including an initiative that collaborates with Durham County Library operation to expand homework, help through in-person and remote learning options. And Durham County also funded a couple of vans that the students needed because the vans that they were riding in was in very, very bad shape. Durham County and the city established an interlocal agreement to expand community-based programming coordination by the county's Community Intervention and Support Service Department. The Haiti Reborn Justice Movement is an umbrella organization that works with existing community partners to help develop and coordinate strategies that interrupt the cycle of violence while concurrently increasing the health and prosperity within marginalized communities. The board allocated $2 million to leverage federal funds awarded by Congress in the amount of $700,000 to support Haiti Reborn Justice Movement efforts. So that's two different sets of money there. Many thanks to our former representative, David Price, who ensured that these funds were approved. And the work continues successfully. And as I begin to close, so as you see, the work that we've done over the last 3 years as commissioners has been phenomenal. Members of the board and the staff have worked very hard with various community organizations, residents, staff, and employees to achieve goals and priorities in many, many areas. It has been a pleasure to work on projects and initiatives that improve the quality of life for all of our residents. And I just wanted to take this opportunity tonight to say thank you. The community, thank you. Because this work is hard work, is servant leadership work. And when you elect us to do the work, that's what we do, is we get down with it and go to work. So I just want a consent agenda, and I'm going to ask the manager if she will go through these and see if any commissioners have anything that they want to pull. And if not, then we will have a vote to approve the consent agenda, but I'll ask the manager if she'll go through these.
So I will just turn to our commissioners and ask, are there any of the items that you would like pulled for us to consider individually? Vice Chair Jacobs.
Madam Manager, I don't want to pull anything, but there is a really big item on here that I think it would be great if we could hear from staff about so the community can know about this. I know we're going to hear a report from Mary Oxendine after this, our food security coordinator, and this item really ties into her report. So that's item 23-0857. It would be great if we could hear more about that item.
Great.
I think we're going to have, if
That's
she's
the
gonna
farm
come-
campus.
Farm camp, yep, it
If
is.
she's going to come to the podium, we're going to have to vote on the others and then have her.
Well, she wouldn't be speaking on it. It's other staff that would speak on it. Our real estate staff. It's a real estate deal.
Right. It is.
Well, I'm delighted to speak on this item. I presume you want me to do that right now and not wait for you to finish going through the agenda?
Okay.
Is that correct? Okay.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, good evening. I'm Nancy Mitchell. I'm the Senior Real Estate Officer for Durham County, and we are pleased to bring to the board for your consideration tonight the purchase of a 130-acre parcel at the intersection of 15501 and Orange Factory Road. This is a piece of property that is currently undeveloped. We are purchasing it from the owner who has owned a great deal of land in that part of our county for a long time. This is, and the property owner, I should say, came to Durham County because he specifically wanted to make sure that the parcel was kept in good care and wasn't overly developed. and that it would continue to serve the citizens of Durham long into the future. So with that, we also have some other staff members here who have more of the details on how the property is proposed to be used. For your consideration tonight also are the deal points in the purchase of the property. One is a $100,000 earnest money deposit, which will be paid pretty much immediately upon the approval of this item. We'll get that in the works this week. We'd like to get under contract as quickly as possible. We have some due diligence that we will conduct related to the soils and the suitability of the soils, with a goal toward closing by the end of February. The idea for the property, specifically, our current need is to have a place for our farm campus, which will be operated and developed and operated by our cooperative extension. And we have, again, staff here to talk about the specifics of that. But if there are any questions, I'd be happy to entertain.
Questions, Matt?
No, would love to hear what Donna has to say as well. Thank you.
And
And thank you for your great work.
I'd like to make a request that we actually carve out some time at a work session
Right.
for a really thorough, presentation on this for the community. It's frustrating, probably for the community too, but I think for board members when there's, massive item that really is worthy of sounding the trumpet about.
Right.
But it's on the consent agenda. And, I want to honor that fact by not, drawing this out because it is consent. But if we could just lift this up at the future and give it the recognition it so deserves. This really is a dream come true.
And we will certainly do that. I just did want to add that staff, we really needed to get this approved because time is of the essence for staff, but we will certainly bring it back at a work session.
And that's wonderful. I'm Donna Rewalt. I'm Durham County Extension Director, and very proud to partner with our real estate partners and our friends in open space who actually brought this property to all of our attention. Durham County Farm Campus is an idea that's been talked about in Durham County among the community for several years. I know some of you have been part of those conversations. And the idea is to honor our agricultural history, but also our agricultural future as an urban, sustainable agricultural community that is innovating and growing all the time in this space. But we know that land is difficult to come by in Durham County. We know that all things are not equitable for all folks who want to access land. And so Durham County Farm Campus is an effort to provide an opportunity for many different people from many different backgrounds to access land, to learn how to farm, how to grow things, whether it's on a smaller or larger scale, to engage with our broader agricultural community that already exists for the purposes of education and partnership with them. This is timely because we actually do have, the community may know from some previous conversations, we do have a USDA grant where we are exploring in depth what this will look like. And so there's going to be some wonderful opportunities in the coming months for the community to engage with this concept. And right now what we've been talking about, I think in terms of this deal and what it will look like, is that obviously there would be agricultural growing of items, right? But we've also talked about the facility needs of Northern Durham County, the need for community and educational space for agriculture and other purposes, and also a real shortage of production and value-added production space in Northern Durham County. What that means for the community, so it's the idea of if I grow a tomato and I want to make it salsa, I have to have a commercial kitchen that I can do that in. And so that potentially adds some value if we are able to move toward a facility down the road. So those are some broad strokes of the things that we hope to do. We're all very excited about it, and we look forward to talking with you about it in a work session. And we certainly have other staff here who can answer more detailed questions if anyone had them at this time. So we're excited again.
Okay. Anything else? Commissioner Burns?
Okay, yeah, the question from the manager on the floor was, one, I have no problem making them. Thank you, Donna. I moved on past that one, but for the sake of highlighting sake, because I know that we have some folks in here who would appreciate it. I just wanted to highlight 2 items as well. We have over $12 million in ARPA funds that we are about to approve on here. I'm not going to belabor the point, but we are making some significant investments. Shout out to Claudia, shout out to the manager for taking the torch. But we're making some, from the lift station to public health, this is $12 million about to go into the community with the stroke of this pen. The other thing I wanted to highlight, it has been a long and arduous journey, but I remember the night we voted on it and how easy it was. Much like the farm campus, I just want to elevate the shops at Hope Valley because we finally have a management company. People have been asking us about it. No different than the farm campus, we are going to have to study what we want to put there so that we can put what is best for the community there. I know I got pie in the sky ideas about how I would love to extend the county out into, close to the Cook Road, close to the hillside. But before we can do all of that, we had to close the deal. So as the stroke of this pen goes in a second, we will have a management company for the shops at South Point on MLK. And while many of those places, the Family Dollars, have long-term leases, there are some vacancies there. And please don't jump on the staff just yet, Perry. I see you back there. Don't worry, I'm not going to send them to you yet. But as we become landlords, we are looking forward to the opportunity to open up those spaces and do some really great work and extend our footprint beyond downtown. So those are the 2 things I just wanted to highlight. Like when we buy land, we are not buying land to buy land. We are buying land to aid in Durham's prosperity.
Okay. So.
One more, because I
sorry.
see
Go,
Naya
what
sitting out there.
So-
And I just want to recognize another, and some of your team there too, from Cooperative Extension, the My Durham Academy for Refugees and Immigrants, the funding that you have received. And again, my question is to hear back more later. Is $7,000 is not very much, though we appreciate you getting that funding. And I want to make sure that that program is fully funded the way we fund the neighborhood college and the planning academy. So just if we can let us know. And really excited and thank you for running that program.
Okay, is there anything else for you, manager? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we can approve the consent agenda as is.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion made by Commissioner Burns, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved 4-0. Okay, and our next item is, we are down to other business, which is 230850, County Food Security Initiatives Update and Upcoming Plan. And I think the resource person on here is Mary Oxendine is here, and Donna Reward for that presentation.
We got you a food campus now, Mary.
Okay.
Okay, it is very exciting. Yeah, we're excited to share more with you all about anticipated plans or just vision for that, and as we learn more from working and hearing from community, how that vision unfolds. So yes, for the past few years, we've come to you all each year just to provide you with an update on initiatives that we've been doing for the previous fiscal year and kind of give you a sense of plans for the coming fiscal year. And so we wanted to come back and share another update with you all tonight. But before we get started, I wanted to do a quick land acknowledgement, as we always do. But Durham County occupies the ancestral, traditionals, and contemporary land of the Eno, Shakori, Occaneechi, Chirrell, Saponi, Lumbee, and Tuscarora people. And we hope that we can honor the land and our ancestors in the way that we care for the land and each other. So, as I mentioned, we'll talk about some food security statistics, some initiatives that we conducted last fiscal year, and then plans for this fiscal year and what we're doing, and then we'll have time for questions and conversation afterwards. So you all have seen this slide before, but I wanted to do just a quick refresher that there's different levels of food security. So we want everybody to be on the top green, high food security, so they have no problems or anxiety about accessing adequate healthy foods. And on the other end of that spectrum is the very low food security. So these folks at times during the year, they are changing their eating patterns, disrupting their food intake, maybe reducing their food input or intake, all because there's a lack of money or other resources to access food. And so the next slide will kind of illustrate some questions or show some questions to kind of illustrate this. So each year, or every 3 years actually, we do a Durham County Community Health Assessment. And the question on the right is one question that's been on the survey for a few years. In the last 12 months, did you ever cut the size of your meals or skip meals because there wasn't enough money for food? So skipping meals or cutting your meals is an indicator of very low food security. And you can see that the numbers haven't changed too much over the past few years, and actually even in 2022, it seems apparently that it didn't change too much, but I wanted to point out a couple caveats to that number is that the surveys were conducted around September, October, November of last year, and during that time, we still had the SNAP emergency allotments, which really maximized people's SNAP benefits and really impacted their ability to access food in a positive way. And so that will significantly impact people's response to this question. And so I'm not sure what the numbers would look like if we asked that same question today. Also, I wanted to note that only 205 people responded to this survey. So, you know, we are definitely, public health is working hard to try to increase response rates for future surveys, but this is during one of the peak COVID moments, and so a lot of volunteers weren't necessarily willing to go out and do the survey, so we didn't have a lot of responses. So just wanted to let you all know about that. But we did add one new question this year that tries to get at, you know, more information before folks get to that very low food security. So in the past 12 months, did you ever worry your food would run out before you got money to buy more? So we're thinking about, are they worried about their food running out, which is more of marginal or low food security? And again, because the numbers were so low, folks that said yes frequently, the numbers were, or the percentages in the report were suppressed because the numbers were so low. So all I'm able to share right here is folks that said yes sometimes. So 14.7% of respondents did say that they worried sometimes that they would run out of food. And so this will be the last graph. I won't throw too many numbers at you. But so this graph is from the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. They're not the only food bank partner that we have in Durham County, but they have the most partner agencies or food pantries in the county. And so you can see, and I will say that these numbers are not unique individuals. So this is individuals served by food pantries and direct distributions. But if a person came to a food pantry multiple times, they would be counted multiple times in these numbers. So don't focus so much on the precise numbers themselves, but more of the trends. And so that you can see in 2020, when COVID hit, the numbers went up dramatically, and they've pretty much stayed up. The data from 2023 was just partial from this year, and I did get more updated data since I've submitted these slides that shows that we're getting pretty close to those 2022 numbers. So it doesn't seem like the number of folks that are visiting pantries is decreasing significantly. But you can see from that line that kind of is decreasing to the right is actually the number of pantries. So we have more people to serve with fewer pantries. And so whenever we talk about supporting our social safety net, we really are thinking about how do we make sure that those pantries have the support that they need to, to maintain those high levels of service. So why are these numbers still high? Just really quickly, kind of the negative economic impacts of COVID are still very real. People got like months and months and months behind on bills. And if before COVID you were only able to save $10 a month, that's not going to get you very far in paying things back. Folks may be unhoused now because housing costs have gone up drastically. The cost of food, gas, other essentials has gone up dramatically since COVID. In 2022, the cost of food that you purchase at a grocery store has gone up 11%. And then, as I mentioned before, there's been a decrease in COVID-related federal assistance. So the programs to support people are decreasing while the costs have not decreased. So our approach to this, and this is also familiar to you all, is really focusing on enhancing the social safety net, really making sure that we're meeting people's needs in ways that engender dignity, agency, and are culturally affirming. And we're also, at the same time that we're meeting immediate needs, we want to make sure that we're working towards equitable systemic improvement for long-term food security. And so in this past fiscal year, and these are just highlights, this is not all the details. We're happy to share more if you'd like more specifics. But the county, and thank you all so much, you've been so generous. This year we spent over $1.6 million in support of food security efforts in the county, with more than 78% of that going to Black, Indigenous, and people of color organizations. We also leveraged relationships with other institutions like Duke Health to make sure that the Double Bucks program continued. So we were able to help connect the Double Bucks program to Duke, and they received $185,000 from that relationship. We distributed over 677,000 meals to food pantries across Durham County in support of SNAP recipients, and have provided food assistance to over 28,000 people through home delivered meals, hot community meals, food boxes, meal kits, grocery gift cards, pretty much any kind of way that you can give people food. we're trying to do it. And so I just have a couple quotes here. I'm going to just read one of them for time. One, and this is from our Durham County nonprofit grant recipients. One older lady told us that her health has improved since coming to our food pantry. Another older gentleman tells us every week that he loves us and that we are his family, and that the food we give him has helped him recover from cancer surgery. The food that we are supporting pantries with is nutritious, healthy food that's helping people not just have something to eat, but have healthy food to eat, and doing it in a way that people feel like their family. They feel like they're cared for. And so it's not just you get what you get meaning, and you get value, and you get relationship, and you get some good tasting food. So thinking about working toward systemic change, we have multiple groups that we are collectively working with to think through different initiatives, work collectively with to move things forward in the community. So we created we already had the food security network, but we created a steering committee to help guide that community group. We also created a regional food system partnership, so we are in collaboration with Wake County and Orange County and thinking about how do we move forward as a region. And I will say that regional partnership actually goes beyond Wake and Orange County, where we have folks from Granville County and other counties, so we're really thinking about how do we move forward as a region together. And then I think last year we mentioned that we were going to create a county city food security team, and we do have that. So we are working across departments and thinking about how can we support each other's work, how can we promote and support each other's teams. And then I was invited to attend the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health. So I got to work or connect with other organizations nationally who are working on food security work and thinking about how can we be involved in that national space. And then thinking about shifting power and resources. So our food security grants that you all graciously have continued to support are operated by a BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, People of Color-led organization that is community rooted. We are really working on Farm Campus and kind of exploring how we increase access to land and resource for the most marginalized people in our community. And so those are just like, I'm just trying to give some quick highlights. So thinking about this fiscal year, what are we working on? So again, this two-pronged approach, supporting our social safety net. We, again, have our county nonprofit and the food security grants. And thank you so much for approving the food security grants this year using ARPA funds. And there's potential for a multi-year commitment through those. We are also, as Chair Howerton mentioned earlier, our older adult population is increasing, and so we're increasing our support for our older adults through home-delivered meals, connecting them to needed services, and providing social connections. And then we're extending supports to working-class families, so where the federal government is shrinking, we're kind of expanding our supports to make sure that pantries have the food that they need for folks that are visiting, and also you all recently approved a 3-year commitment to support Double BOCC, so thank you. And then, so for this year, thinking about like systems change, we are piloting equitable strategies. Again, you all recently approved a community accountable grocer in Northeast Central Durham. So we're going to be starting that project soon. And we continue to explore different community wealth building as a food security strategy, and thinking about how do we help families be economics or have economic security so that they can access food the way that they need to. And we're taking an asset-based community development approach and thinking about who we're selecting as our contractor, and as we move forward with our food system assessment and exploring dreams, as we've talked about with Farm Campus, and thinking about how do we make sure that that really maximizes its potential, and thinking about governance and community engagement, and making sure that that Farm Campus is a place where the community feels like it was designed for them and they feel welcome to be there. And I just wanted to like take a few minutes to kind of pat ourselves on the back even more a little bit. So how far we have come. So I also was thinking about sort of the past few years. Chair Howerton highlighted a few things, and so just thinking about food security specifically, the county has supported over $7 million in commitments for food security efforts, and on average we're managing 17 grants and contracts at the same time. As I mentioned before, we have 3 cross-sectoral collaborative groups that are engaging over 335 people each week. We have an annual event that we co-created with the community called World Hunger Day that I think all of you have attended. And we've leveraged the county's resources to bring in over $363,000 to support the efforts that we're doing. And I know some of you looked at us like we were kind of crazy, and we probably were a little bit. Back in September of 2021, we came and shared a long list of all the things that we thought the county could potentially do with ARPA funding. And I just wanted to say, we've done pretty much all these things. We've provided stopgap funding for emergency food providers. We've provided sustained access to fresh produce. It hasn't been county money, but the DPS is replacing and replenishing their kitchen equipment. You know, we're supporting generational wealth development. So I just wanted to say we are definitely on our way to creating a sustainable, equitable community food system by building health and wealth in the community. And as I think I say every year, I very much so am in the belief that equitable place-based strategies that are designed by the community can support increased economic security, community leadership, and assets. And while we're on that long-term path, we do need to support current needs to make sure that our community is safe and healthy. That's all.
Thank you for your presentation, and Donna. I have one question. I guess I was wondering, what's your plans for going forward? We won't have as much money as we've had last, gotten a bunch of dollars. What kind of plans do we have going forth to maintain things as they are? You know, with wealth building, it takes dollars. And do you have any plans about where you can go with that?
I think that's a really good question, and one that I've been thinking about myself, because I do know that during COVID there was a lot more additional federal money coming to the county,
Right.
That isn't necessarily sustaining. It's a difficult question, because we can apply for grants. I think the pantries, we have discussions all the time about how can they help make sure that the work that they're doing is sustainable. Some of them have decided to form separate 501c3s outside of their church so that they can independently apply for grants. We've talked about different food drives and different fundraising strategies. So I think community members are very much so interested in working with me to think about, like, how do we kind of make sure that we can keep the supports that we need. Is it going to be at the same level? I think it would be very difficult to maintain, $1 million each year, but I do think that community members are willing to really put in a lot of work to make sure that they can provide a lot of support to the community. And because every week the pantries are always turning people away, even now. So it's just a difficult decision to make as to, how much is realistic as far as their sustainability and pushing themselves.
Yeah, as we are hearing, the need is growing. It's not decreasing. So I'd like for us to really have some conversation about what it is so it's what's possible.
And I think that the funding and the things that you all are doing outside of food will likely help. So thinking about housing is one of the largest expenses that people have. So as you all work with the city and developing more affordable housing, potentially even as low as the 30% AMI, I think that will really help folks. There's a lot of initiatives around early childhood education and childcare. All these things really come together to support people. It's food, housing, childcare, all the things are connected. So I think even though we won't have as much specifically to invest in food, I think the investments that you've made over the past few years will start coming to fruition as people are able to access those more affordable housing options. Things like that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Carter, anything for you?
Thanks for the great presentation, and just, I really appreciate your work and your vision for this work, the fact that it's comprehensive in the way that you just described, looking at all costs, not just the cost of food, right, because that is part of affordability. I really like the fact that you all have taken this approach where it's imperative to meet the immediate need, the emergency need, and the work that's been done there, and the continued work that we will do, and especially since so much of it is working with our community-rooted partners, and that immediate, the work to meet the immediate need is connected to your work for more long-term systemic change and the equitable strategies that you're partnering, and also with community players to build community wealth. I just think that's really the way to go. It's complicated. It's hard to even explain and to describe, but I think you've done a really good job of helping us understand it, help the community understand it, and put it into action. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that, continues to play out. And I mentioned you, Mary, and this work at our retreat last week when we were talking about our sort of, our priorities as commissioners for the future. And I really want us to continue investing in this work and in our food system development to be sure we do have a local, regional, I guess, food system that's equitable, from which everyone can get healthy food. And, it's a system that's racially equitable, it's sustainable, it's environmentally just, all these things. There's so much to think about. I would love to hear more about your regional food system partnership at some point. I don't feel like I know much about that. Probably I've just neglected to I don't know, read about something. I missed something somehow, or I've forgotten it. And I'm wondering, is it at all connected to the work that the Central Carolina Pines, used to be TJ Cog, Central Carolina Pines Regional Council is doing? Because they're doing some regional work with food system. I don't know whether that was part of the regional food system partnership or not.
We're looped into, I'm formerly TJ Cog.
Right.
Something Pines, yes. Central Pines, yes,
Regional
Central
Council,
Pines.
yeah.
Yes, so we're definitely looped into that. And they're looking at like I think it's an 18 county region, so it is a little bit broader than what we're looking at. And also I think their goal is slightly different, but we are sharing data, is what I would definitely say. But so the original premise of the Regional Food System Partnership was actually thinking about how do we connect farmers to institutional procurement. So thinking about Durham Public Schools, they are very interested in buying local food, but how do we make sure that we have the farming infrastructure in place to be able to support that level of purchasing? Right now, Lyndon, who is the Durham Public Schools, and sorry if I don't know if there's an echo, but she's been working with a lot of local aggregators, but there's still a very limited amount of food that our farmers are producing, because a lot of our farmers are not necessarily at that scale. So we've been talking a lot about how do we build the capacity of farmers in the infrastructure, but also in their knowledge, so that they can be able to access those institutional markets. So it's, again, thinking about like the wealth building opportunities and viewing farming as a business practice and thinking about creating more jobs in that, but also at the same time making sure that our youth have healthy local food that's regeneratively grown. And so from that, we're thinking about not just DPS, but thinking about other institutions too. And what if Durham County itself made a commitment to, anytime we're purchasing food, to make sure that it's X% is local, or the other, Wake County, Orange County, other institutions, thinking about how do we support our farmers regionally and being able to sell to institutions.
Well, I would certainly endorse that. I think those all sound like great ideas. And certainly our farm campus will help support that vision as well. So it's going to be great to hear more about that. The farm campus really is going to be a project that has the potential to meet so many of our cross-cutting goals, really. Certainly centered around food, but other goals as well. The environment, sustainability, equity in many ways. So that's going to be great. And all of this, the work that you're doing is the same, centered around food. I had something else, but it's slipping my mind. You guys can go ahead, and if it comes to me, I'll raise my hand again, if that's all right.
Commissioner Burns.
Okay, so one really, really quick. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Donna, for your leadership. You put a quote up there talking about a gentleman said, you know, I'm past my cancer surgery, or the food you all bring me is so good. I kind of sort of want to take some time. You know, we always want to say, let us acknowledge the land. I really want to take some time to acknowledge you. One of the things that Mayor O'Neill and I really agree on is that we have to build systems that surpass people. In the event, because you started here in 2021. As much as I would love for you to end your career here, there's this wonderful op-ed about her in the NZ, and she is now working on her master's, and I'm pretty sure they're going to pull her up to the White House. So if you haven't read, she was in the Indy last week. It was a wonderful op-ed about some of our really great farms, so shout out to you on that. I saw it, and then Commissioner Jacobs did send it to everyone, so congratulations to you. But the reason why that's important to me, before you got here, you know, I could think of people that were not in our well, not the network she's talking about, but we're not in our food pantry network. Like, there were churches that were operating every week giving out food, and then you would see somebody get on a bus and go way across town because they knew about the food pantry that was highly publicized, when here it was 3 blocks away, there's a church that has collard greens and sweet potatoes and milk and eggs, and they were, you know, how do I get this back on the bus? So one, thank you for taking the time. That was one of your first jobs here, was to map this network, and as much as we want to take some credit about funding these things, we could only do it if you all brought it to us. So I do want to take some time to acknowledge you. And yes, I was one of those people when she came in here with that laundry list that first day. I said, oh, she knew. And I'll never forget on camera, I said, well, are we supposed to fund all this? She said, if you don't ask, she said, closed mouths don't get fed. I will never forget that. But she planted that idea in our heads. And I'm not going to go too deep because we've had some conversations about this food insecurity. And to just jump off of something that Commissioner Carter said, I'm really excited about how you all are attacking this supply chain issue. Because what we do have is a lot of people in positions of power, whether it be here or in corporate, who say, you know what, we want to help black farmers because they're retiring. We want to do this. We want to buy local. The problem is, like you said, they are not scalable. And then what we end up doing, even from a co-op stage, we will get a contractor into a squash contract that they can't even do fulfillment for a year. And so I do appreciate the fact that you all are attacking that in that way, because what we don't want to do is set people up to be unsuccessful. And we also don't want our school systems to start out on these pilots and then people say, well, it didn't work. Well, it didn't work because we didn't put the appropriate structure around it. So that's one that I'm really huge on. USDA Day, like, that was one. People always want to have a consistent stream of black and brown farmers, but if their yields are not that high, they can't continuously support the school system. So I love that. Here's my question, because I did want to give you your kudos. We got funding from the USDA Office of Agriculture, Urban Agriculture and Innovative Production. There it is. All right, I was ready. And one of the parts of that feasibility study was actually trying to see, okay, could we find a tract of land, among other things. And so now we've kind of found this tract of land. It's $165,000. My question to you is, now that we've kind of done this part, and I don't want to lock you into this on camera, but what is our timetable looking like, since now we've kind of already got some of the things that we need, and we have you two beautiful ladies leading the helm. So how long is, one, contractually, we got the feasibility study, it's a grant from this date to this date, and when can we expect to have a report from said feasibility study?
Maybe Donna and I can both chime in.
Right. That way you can bring it back to us. Like,
yeah. So we are definitely moving and have found a tract of land now.
Right.
And so that was just one aspect of the feasibility study. We do still want to conduct a lot of community engagement to really make sure that we design it in a way with community in mind and like with their voices at the table. And so, but we will definitely have preliminary data that we can share with you all before final reports come out from like our contractors.
Okay.
I'm afraid to say a timeline. I'm going to
Don't, no, I said I didn't want to lock you in. That was the disclaimer. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I think that's fair. I think what's
Yeah.
really interesting about this opportunity is that we won't be talking about a hypothetical tract of land anymore, which I think is what this process was designed to do.
Right.
Was to talk about what could be possible on something that doesn't exist.
Right.
And so we'll actually be talking about actual land. So there may be some richer opportunities for community engagement. We may be able to sit together on that property and absorb it. I'm looking forward to all of you being able to have the opportunity to do that too. I was very awed and moved by this land. It's that type of land, and it's so transformative, I think, for us individually, and I think can be for so many people. So the fact that we could actually engage the community around actual land, we are working with our contractors because it does involve a little twist in the scope. There's a couple things in there that are going to be a little bit different, but we have built in all along, because in respect to the type of processes you have that are bound by budgets and timeframes, we do have points in time where we're asking for interim reporting, which kind of is one of the things that happened here that helped us with this process to get the scoring back. We wouldn't have gotten that as early, but we built in some interim points in time. So we'll be revisiting exactly kind of when those hit based on this kind of new process. So all along, we'll have some data, and we'll at least be able to come back to you with some preliminary, here's maybe what this should look like in the next 6 months, as a kind of a placeholder as we're working through this process. So we will be looking at that as we go through this due diligence phase in the actual farm campus process for the contracting. We have some definite points that we've discussed as a team about what we should know to be good stewards in the interim as we're moving toward this vision. If that's
Perfection.
helpful.
Perfect.
Okay.
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And by all means, thank you for elevating this conversation, because a lot of us do not go to sleep hungry at night. And if it were not for you all hitting a call on this, we wouldn't always know what exactly to do. So just thank you for your servant leadership.
And I would love to give a shout, just kind of thinking back when Mary's position was established and you all created this, I'd love to give some credit to Hunger Durham and the folks who really came up with this idea of this position, talked with the city,
Right, exactly.
and talked with the county.
They really did want the city and the county to have this position. It
And
took us a while, but we finally got it.
took us a
Yes, in
while.
Hunger Durham.
And while no one would ever say yay COVID, I think COVID did tell us some things about hunger that we might have known, but really brought us into some stark relief. But those are the folks kind of behind the scenes for years, kind of trudging away, and they wanted to see this happen, and I know that they're excited about what's been happening.
Do you work with Delphine Sellers?
Yes, Delphine, you will probably see on the website that Cooperative Extension, Soil and Water, and other county departments are partners, and our logos actually are on UCAN's website. We have had, depending on which one of us, whether our agriculture team or one of us has met with her, and a variety of things. She also participates in many of our county grant programs as well, both the agricultural grants, but also the food security grants, because she does dip into both of those pools.
When I was out there, cars were lined up,
Yes.
just for miles, just drive in, and they put food in the cars.
Well, we definitely hope, I would say, Delphine and I haven't had a chance to talk and meet about this yet, but one of the things we do hope, because they are also present in Northern Durham, that there will be some really unique opportunities to partner and not, duplicate the same things, right? But to really partner and enhance the work that UCAN is doing through this partnership, and really build a nice bridge between what Durham County Farm Campus can do and offer to UCAN, and what UCAN can offer Durham County Farm Campus, and vice versa.
Okay. All right. Mr. Jacobs?
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to also thank you, Mary and Donna, as well, for your leadership and support. It's really astounding, considering that you are one person, and of course collaborating with a lot of people. But all that you have really achieved is really astounding, and you're still smiling. So thank you. I'm just sitting here and thinking about just like an asset map of just all of the assets that we do have in Durham County. Even the hub farm, Northern Durham, the hub farm. That we for a small county, land-wise, we have created a lot of assets, and then thinking about all of the different partners within Durham County government that connect around food. You know, we have public health doing Dine, you know, teaching kids about healthy food in the schools. We've got our real estate department helping us preserve farmland and doing conservation easements, and now helping us get a farm campus, you know, DSS with all the food programs, and, you know, our farmland board, our soil and water, all the stuff that you do internally with cooperative extension. It's pretty amazing, all the ways that we are trying to work towards sustainability and self-sufficiency, and the idea of growing your own, literally. But I do think it is a daunting, that we do have to work towards this vision of, you know, sustainability and equity, because when the SNAP benefits went away from COVID, we lost $30 million of food benefits per month. That's how much we were getting during COVID, $30 million a month in Durham County. We don't have the resources to replicate that. So yeah, we really need to, you know, we need to keep doing what we're doing and keep the vision of what we're investing in for the long term. One of my questions for you was around working with older adults, like our adult and aging services, Lee Little. We have over 400 seniors waiting for Meals on Wheels. The list just keeps getting bigger. And every time I see the list, I ask, okay, well, are those folks getting helped other ways? Are they connected to food pantries? And, you know, I see, Anaya is still here, boy. Our refugees and immigrants, of course, you know, hopefully them being part of cooperative extension, but our veterans, you know, I just think about how many people we really need to get connected into the system that you're building. Do you feel like you're being able to actually do that and around like aging and adult services with DSS?
Am I able to really? No, singularly, I am not, but I am working with other organizations that are helping with that. So one thing that we're going to be, probably will come to you all soon, is we've been in conversation with Durham Center for Senior Life to increase one of their staff person to full-time so that they can connect seniors, or older adults rather, to more resources, not just food resources, but all kinds of resources, so that, you know, if you get support with medication, then that frees up money that you could potentially spend on food. And we on the county city food security team, we do have a couple of folks actually from DSS on the team. And so we work with them and with Meals on Wheels and thinking about how can we take some folks off the waiting list. So we do have a contract separately with Meals on Wheels to be able to remove some folks from the waiting list. It is a pretty extensive waiting list, and sometimes I do get calls. And so, you know, we do direct people to food pantries. There's organizations like Root Causes that deliver food and produce to people's homes. And so we're definitely connecting folks to different organizations and agencies that can support them. But yeah, so we are trying to fill in the gaps as much as we can.
Yeah.
And I would say Mary's talked a lot about the need for home delivered meals. You know, we certainly noticed that during COVID, but it's continued. And this is a challenge unique to the senior population. So, I mean, Mary's helped us focus on some targeted investments in that particular space, but it's still a really limited space, and the need is great. So I think that is an area of thought. I mean, so, you know, some of the things, if we have to choose our money and choose how we spend it, healthy food is hard. You know, at a food drive, you're going to get canned goods, right? You're going to get non-perishables, but you're not going to get fresh food. You know, you're not going to get food that will show up at somebody's home. So when we think about longer term investments that we might make as a county and where we find some of the gaps, that's definitely one of the places I've certainly heard Mary and others talk about, that home delivered piece. It's not something everybody's doing.
Right.
That's tough.
And it makes me think about what we heard at the Leadership Academy around communication and the silos within Durham County departments, knowing about resources even. And for instance, the low-income homeowner relief program now is doing case management. You know, they're saying, okay, you're getting this benefit. Do you need help with other things? So I think the more that we can do the kind of, like you were saying, Mary, it's not just getting food to people. It's the more holistic approach that we can find out ways that we can address all, you know, the gaps and the needs. And I'll just put in a plug for what we talked about at our last school board meeting with the school board about the SEP program and ensuring universal access to breakfast and lunch, and then tying in with Lyndon on bringing in our local farmers with that would be a dream, right? So, yeah, absolute dream.
I think staff is working on that, and I'm gonna put a plug, I'm talking to the city, senior center, that city thing, but we can participate. And that's a conversation I'd like. You build a building and not put a kitchen in it. That was done a long time ago. It's and they still don't have a kitchen in the senior center. So that's a conversation I'd like to have with the city. Thank you so much. Is there anything else, or are we finished? Conversation.
Can I lift up something for the future? Just not tonight, but when we're thinking about the whole food system, is there a place for the county to participate, you know, with the city or regionally or whatever, or even just the county, about food waste? You know, that part of the system, you know, the very sort of like the end of the system, but not really, because it's a circle anyway, but I feel like that's an important part, reducing waste, you know, for both environmental reasons and also affordability and hunger.
And we, and our partners in public health are actually already working on that and thinking about how do we prevent food waste and also redirect good food to folks that might need it. So there's a project that Kelly Warnock is leading with the means database and thinking about how do we, you know, maybe if there was a conference and they had multiple trays that they didn't serve, so that food is hot, how do we connect them immediately with a pantry or with an organization that can get that food out to folks that need it? So yeah, we are working on that.
Thank you again for your great report.
Thank you so much.
It's always great to see you. Thank you for the work. You're right. Commissioners, what's left is boards and commission appointments. Attorney, are you ready?
Yes, Madam Chair. So for tonight's board and commission members voting, we have two. The first is the Durham County Women's Commission. We have a vacant position, and the new appointee will be Alexandra Alvarez. For the Farmland Protection Advisory Board, there are two vacant positions, and for that, you have voted on Kenyon Browning of Enovad and Nicole Connolly of the Little River VAD. So those are your three new appointees.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to citizens that have been appointed, willing. Is there anything else? None? Will I?
Second.
All in-
Aye.
We are adjourned.